Kia ora, haere mai te bus days. In this video, I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update of where we are with progress on the bus. Roll funky intro. So in some ways it feels like we've made a ton of progress, and in other ways it really doesn't. One of the trickiest areas we've had is seatbelts. We've been trying for over a year now to get an engineer to come and have a look at the bus and to work out what we need to do to get these seatbelts installed, and as yet we've not managed to do that. Hopes are up at the moment though. I've got a guy I'm in contact with right now, and whilst haven't made any progress yet, ever hopeful. The reason that's such a problem for us is that we need to get that structural part of things done so that I can carry on building the bus around the front end. So I'm kind of stuck now. I've come forward almost as far as I can come with the insides of the bus until I know what's going on with the seatbelts. But as you may have seen in some of my earlier videos, we have made quite a bit of progress, and some of it's kind of exciting. So I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what we've done so far. So one day the view from bed will be perhaps more like that and less like this. But we're not quite there yet. We have, however, put in some cupboards above the bed, a mirror to give the impression of size, and some more storage above here. We've obviously done the roof in gold per my instructions, and our most recent addition is a whole bunch of drawers. Now, not all of these are fixed yet, but those that are have got Velcro, and behind the drawer and on the actual shelf to hold them in. They are quite hard to open. They are a fairly simple drawer, which I've got a video on how I made them. Just basically staples and glue holding them together, a bit of 7mm structural ply and some bear crates. We've had all of the windows out, well, almost all of the windows out. I haven't taken that back window out yet. That scares the hell out of me. May actually get a professional to do that. But while I had them out, I've tinted them all and resealed all of the window frames. So the tint makes it near impossible to see in. It's a 95% black limo tint. Made even harder to see in by just how dirty the bus is at the moment. I actually just gave it a spray with wet and forget yesterday. You can see things like this, which actually yesterday was green and now it has already gone black. So that stuff's probably working quite fast. The whole bus was pretty green really from sitting here over winter, and so I'm looking forward to that, cleaning it, and then I'll give it a good scrub down. Hopefully get some paint on it this summer. Engine wise, I've done nothing, well, I've had to do nothing, other than I did take off the air conditioning unit, air conditioning compressor that was up on top of here. I'm contemplating it gives me the ability to put in a second alternator, perhaps something specifically set up for charging lithium batteries, but I'm not 100% sure I even will. This thing's got a massive alternator. It had a huge air conditioning setup, so it used a lot of power. So this thing's got a very big alternator, so I'm sure it's more than capable of charging the batteries anyway. But engine wise, this baby's sweet. Up on the roof I have taken off the two original bus vents and closed them in, and popped on some railing for my solar. And my next job up here is to cut a hole over there for the chimney. Back inside, benches, sinks, cabinetry. Proud of my little drawers and stuff. And you've probably all seen my gold flake, which I'm very happy with. Shelving with lights in, although there's no lights on at the moment. Even a bathroom sink. The bed's been in for a while. It's on a lift up mechanism, although I haven't quite got the balance right on the gas struts yet. So with one set that I've got on it, it's quite hard to lift. With the other set, it won't come back down. So I've just got to get that balance right. Likewise, I need to put some struts in underneath this bench to assist lifting that up. A lot of drawers and storage. I've gone mostly for drawers because they're easier to load and unload. I've got a couple up here, and there'll be a couple more on this side, and the gap above the shower and the likes. I have these pillars for wiring and hiding other services with USB plugs. Quick charge 3, so they're 3 amps each or something like that. And I've done a mock-up of some seating. Now I'm not 100% sure that this is actually what's going to happen, because depending on the pricing of seatbelts and stuff, I may need to have this made out of steel for seatbelt. So if that's the case, that'll be recycled and replaced with some steel framing. Not even 100% sure I want to put seatbelts on those side seats. I don't need them, but it wouldn't hurt to have them. Now, I've mocked up a fireplace. Actually, everything here is really just mocked up. I mean, whilst the mounting and stuff is permanent, all the cabinetry, the benches and stuff are actually just sitting here. And in fact, my next job will be to take it all back out so that I can get in behind it all and finish sealing the cladding now that I know where everything's going to go, and run some plumbing. Although it has a seat belt, a lap belt, as a bus it doesn't need it. In fact, none of the 37 children in this bus needed seat belts either. However, as a motorhome, it must have a lap and diagonal seat belt for any forward facing seats for as many people as it can accommodate in terms of bedding. So with one bed, that will make it a 2-berth motorhome, which means it needs 2 seats, which means it needs 2 seat belts. Now, the driver's seat's an obvious one, and then in terms of where to mount the seat belt, I have deliberately left this wall unclad so that we've got access to all of the steel work. I mean, I'm not a registered engineer and I'm certainly not certified to do seatbelts, but I am a mechanical designer by trade, so I know how to do it, I'm just not allowed. But basically I'm thinking, you know, top mount for the seatbelt up here. This is a frame, this is actually double lined through here for extra strength, so there's a fair bit of strength right there. There's plenty of framework and strength down the bottom. So I don't think actually it should be too hard. Obviously on this side maybe a stalk or something like a seatbelt stalk like a lot of cars have, coming up from being bolted through the floor to some steel work underneath. So it all looks pretty simple to me, but getting a bloody engineer here is near impossible. Now the passenger side is going to be a little more tricky because there's not even a seat there. So I either use the couch with lap belts, because side facing seats must have lap belts, can only have lap belts, or I've put a seat in. Now I've got a seat here that I've taken out of another vehicle, and it's a fold down seat actually. So this is it in its folded down mode, and it really just needs a bit of a frame built attaching to the bus so that it can be mounted there, and then its seat belts could be attached in the exact same way as the driver's seat belts. In fact, even if we went for lapping belts, to me I think then all that means is a decent solid steel brace along the back. There's plenty of framework in behind there to attach that to, and that would be done. But we'll see. When not in use, this seat would just fold up out the way and allow easy access in and out of the bus. So the big cavity above the bed, that was a massive air conditioning unit, sort of thing that takes 2 or 3 people. I think we used 4 people to carry it out of the bus. And a ton of cabling and piping and the likes has come out. Obviously all the lining and that, which we would have seen in the first video, or in the first few videos if you've watched them. So when I'm showing you our progress, it actually doesn't feel like we've done very much at all. But when I do look back at it, I can see where the hours have gone. And still loving every minute of it. So I'm learning flat out. We're both learning flat out. We're both doing things we've never done before. So it's quite a neat stretch for us to do this, and it's awesome watching it come together and making it. It's awesome making it come together. Like everything you see here, we did that. Anyway, so that was a bit of a boring video to watch, since I haven't been really able to do much in the last couple of weeks. Have of course got a lot of work done around the house. You know, it's spring here now, so it's time for the classic spring cleaning. So we're trying to get the place up to scratch, ready for summer. Other random thoughts. I'm still humming and hawing about whether or not to use a Nissan Leaf battery. I just haven't been able to get my hands on one for the right price. But it is a tempting thought. You can get a lot of energy storage for, you know, a relatively cheap price, and there are some spectacular batteries in the Leaf. Alternately, of course, you can simply buy great big lithium batteries. Well, not great big, they're actually really quite small, or a whole ton of horrible old lead batteries, which would be my last choice really. They just don't perform as well as I would like, and it'll probably come down to dollars. At the right price I'll go lithium. However, if there was some ridiculously cheap lead carbon or lead crystal or something like that, I'd probably go that way. They have a much better performance than standard lead acid or gel or AGM or any of that sort of rubbish. If the most amazing deal came up on any of those technologies, I'd probably jump for it, but as yet I haven't found that, and I'm still looking for a crashed Leaf or a cheap second-hand leaf to use the battery out of that. So if you know an engineer who wants to come and certify my seatbelts, please get in touch. Like I say, I've got one organised, so hopefully that'll come through, but then actually I've got two organised, and historically I've had maybe 5 or 6 different engineers I've been in touch with and yet to have one on site. So I'm very keen to get that done. It's kind of holding me up now, but we'll battle on in other areas, I guess. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Hopefully you want to see more of my videos. In that case, hit the subscribe button, which I think is over here. Or watch another video, and take care. Mā te rā.